Hi there everyone, this is Jed and Meyric. We're here today just demonstrating the use of poplar and willow in erosion control, just for the purposes of demonstrating it to the other members of the Civil Assembly. So here we have a slip site that actually isn't on Meyric's property, well, part of it is, but he's treated it with willow and poplar. I'm going to get him to talk about it, but I'm just going to demonstrate the geology of the slip here. So we've got an open scar right at the top, and then I guess you'd call it a tail, but it's kind of a great big green slump, isn't it? But this area right out to the side is all moving, and then it's come right down to just to there, and then there's a line going up the side of the tank and all that, basically where those little willows are kind of hiding in the long grass, all the way back up to the scar. So that was all moving, and perhaps tell us about that on the day it happened, Meyric. What did it look like?
Oh, it looked pretty horrible. It didn't go completely, but it had a big bulge at the bottom. It was full of water and porridge, and yeah, it moved the fence, and yeah, and then a week after we started planting it. Well, we planted it.
Yeah, so if you could just describe perhaps the willow methodology you use, because it's probably the cheapest one I've come across.
Yeah, we cut our wands out of a tree just over the hill there, and it was quite a big tree, and we didn't use all the wands on it, but cut them, and we brought them over here and just had them about a metre long and as big as my thumb, or bigger, but no smaller than my thumb, and just push them into the ground and have it 3/4 of the wand in the ground, and that gives it a lot of roots will come out of that stem you could put in the ground, and they grow like anything.
So how old are they?
2 years old, yeah.
Yeah, so basically from the time you put those wands in, has there been any more movement in it?
No, there hasn't. Hasn't been any, and from now on, the roots are almost holding hands, I think.
Yeah, that root structure is kind of critical. So you planted, so that's where your spacing comes in, eh?
Yeah, and that's what's holding the soil there. So it's an instant. Well, it isn't instant, but it's a quick fix to the problem. And then we do hope to plant native there in it, and as they grow, who will take longer, we'll be able to cut the willows out when the natives are established and able to hold it.
Yeah. And see, you got a few poplars in there as well.
Yeah, we've got a handful of poplars. Those are kawas, and they're good, but we've had problems, a lot of losses with establishing them at the first couple of years.
Oh, you're thinking up Fernside way?
Yeah. These ones are growing well though. Yeah.
Yeah, so you were saying the wind gets to them when they're young, eh?
Yeah, it can do. But when they first come out, their leaves are so big and soft, and if you get a whole lot of wind, it just blows the leaves off the trees, and they can't handle that a couple of times. The tree just dies.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but so anyway, that kind of covers the diversity, and then the cost effectiveness versus buying poplar poles. So there's a lot of advantages in willow because you're not all that expense.
yeah, I mean, if you have a pole and a sleeve, and to get it on the site, it's pretty expensive. It'd be $30 plus. And
For a pole and sleeve, you probably
for a pole and sleeve.
it'd be more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's.
And then you got to put it in.
I think the pole and the poles are 24, the sleeves are 9 plus GST. So yeah.
And then you have to get it out there.
And then by the time you transport it from wherever you buy the pole, which is probably going to be Wangakuri, transport it to Tukamara Bay or up the Mata Road,
Yeah.
and then maybe fly it up the hill with a helicopter.
Yeah, you have to because it's in the middle of winter. It's hard to get access.
Yeah, so you're looking, it'd have to be $60 a pole.
Yeah, probably.
Just to get it there, and you haven't put any labour into it yet.
Yeah.
And then, so if the darn things get blown to bits, because you're in a semi-alpine environment up there, that's kind of a bit of a financial loss, isn't it? Whereas this one, you're basically pollarding whatever willow trees you've got at hand. And then if you plant willows sparsely at the start of your project, leave them 5 years and go back and pollard them. Did we talk about that yet?
No, we haven't on that. But that's how we do it up at Fernside. We haven't got a nursery. We have spread our poles out in different areas and really spread them out, and then we'll go back in 5 years and we'll pollard the willows and put them in the ground right beside the 5-year-old trees, and then you haven't got the transport, and you don't have to have helicopters, and you can just, it's so quick to put them in.
Yeah.
and you get you can put all the wands in the areas where stock isn't able to get, and you don't have to sleeve it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just fence them out for as long as it takes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's probably getting a little bit more technical than we want to get into in this episode, but yeah, so staging that investment over 10 years.
Yeah. Well, if you get a drought in January, February, it can kill your willows and definitely poplars. But if you plant your willows in the wet areas, they're just about guaranteed to grow. So you don't want to do too much in one year in case you have a dry period over the summer. So
Or your poplars get blown to bits.
yeah,
Well, any time of year. Well, the time that they've got their leaves out, isn't it? So it's more summer. Those summer,
it's that
summer,
spring.
Yeah,
When the leaves are soft and you get a whole lot of wind, it can kill them, all right.
yeah. So just staging your investment is probably realistic in terms of money and time, because farmers are always busy. So yeah, just as an example of a winning methodology, I think we're looking at one right here. So you've done something that's affordable and effective, and can be carried out any time of year on the worst of ground. But just moving on to pest control and stock control. So maybe do stock first. So you've kept this fence, looks like, from the time you planted it. So it really hasn't had any stock on it, but you could when could you put stock back in amongst those little trees?
I think you'd be able to put sheep in there this winter when there aren't any leaves on the willows, and then you'll be able to keep sheep in there after that, and probably cattle in another year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on pests, we haven't got a lot of possums here, and we have one deer which has done a bit of damage. So you have to keep the other animals out, and for these you have to keep them out for a year. Natives, you have to keep them out, you have to keep the deer off them for 5 years, 6 years before they don't wipe them out.
Yeah.
And that's natives are so slow to get established.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're trying to control an active slip, once again, this is probably a winning methodology. And then, introduce your natives later. We might talk about seed islands in a future episode, but you actually do have a seed island uphill from here. So you will be able to just take plants out of that and bring them in here over time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then breaking out, did you have to get in and rescue those plants from the weeds at all?
No, I didn't at all. Didn't have to at all. No, they. If you get your wands in the early winter or middle of winter, they start sprouting real fast.
Yeah. So whereas natives, I've heard in the worst case, which is probably Titirangi because it's got every known weed species to man, you know, they're still breaking out little plants after 15 years. So, and that's not necessarily achievable for a farmer or a forester. So if we're needing immediate rescue of topsoil, once again, this is a pretty good methodology right here, as long as you can keep the pests off, eh? Yeah, well, that kind of covers.
Yeah.
You need a clever summary.
Put me on the spot. Yeah, well, it's a cheaper option to erosion control. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Oh, I'll wrap it up there.